It's the Dear Auntie podcast with your favorite aunties, Carmen and Co.
Talk to me. What's going on with you?
You need advice, and they've got the answers. Auntie gon' keep it real.
Hey, Auntie. Hey, Auntie. Hey, Auntie.
You're tuned in to the Dear Auntie podcast.
Welcome back.
You were supposed to say podcast.
Oh, podcast? Is that our new thing now?
That's your thing.
Okay, sorry. I did it last time, and I didn't know if that's our thing.
That's our thing.
Okay,
it seems like our
I'll
thing.
do it next time.
Okay.
Sorry.
And so this time, you all do it, okay? When I say welcome to the Dear Auntie podcast, you just say podcast.
When we say auntie, you say podcast. Auntie.
Podcast.
Okay. I'm messing up already.
We're going to get it
We're
together.
going to work it out.
We're going to work it
Eventually,
out.
we're going to have a jingle.
We tried to have a jingle. It did not work out.
We did try.
We were trying to be too fancy for y'all.
We just
were
gonna keep
doing
it
too
raw
much too soon.
right now.
We're gonna keep it real raw.
Yeah.
Real raw
You
out
gonna
here.
get the
Butt naked.
rawness of it.
So we realized on episode 1, first of all, shout out to y'all because who is even listening and watching this? We don't know, but somebody out there is.
We appreciate it. We so appreciate it.
We appreciate it, y'all. We ended up on the Apple Podcast charts with one episode. I don't know how it happened. But
well, Co is used to that kind of thing. I'm not. So I was like, say what now? Let me call my mama.
Yeah, we made it.
Let me
Mama,
call my
we
mama.
made it.
Yeah.
So we're 207. We made it to 201. I don't know if I told you that,
Oh
but
my
201.
gosh.
So we're going to see if we can break 200 with episode 2.
I would love to.
So
I would
share
love to.
this with a friend. As
Yes.
you know, here at Dear Auntie, you're tuned into your favorite aunties, okay? In case you don't have a favorite auntie who's going to keep it real, share with you their truth, okay? We're going to let y'all in our business just a little bit. But we really want to be able to offer advice, wisdom, based on our experience. You don't have to be an expert based on a degree, okay? If you have some lived experience to
We have a
rely
PhD
on.
in life.
We got a lot.
Yeah.
So speaking of, though, we didn't even properly introduce ourselves on episode 1.
You are right about that. And we want to make sure that we do that this time. So I'll start.
Go.
I'm Carmen. You can call me Auntie Carm if you're fancy. But I'm an entrepreneur living here in the A for about 10 years now and loving every bit of it. I'm a wife and a dog mom.
Come on, wife and dog mom.
Yeah, my dog
and
is
y'all
at
auntie.
Yeah, and my dog is at daycare right now, which you clowned me about earlier.
Just a little bit
But
because
we'll talk
what?
about that.
Who is so the crazy thing is though, before I had my first baby, my husband wanted a dog really bad. And I'm like, if we get a dog, we might as well have a baby. And then I got pregnant. But the fact that you're paying for daycare is proof that if you have a dog, you might as well have a baby.
Like, this lets me know that I can totally, like, I have my training wheels on right now.
You're practicing.
I'm practicing.
You're a pre-mom.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
pre-mom.
excited about it.
I'm a real ass mama, okay? With 2 whole...
She's like, let me be clear.
Let me be clear. 2 whole children, no dogs. I want to say I'm anti-dog, but my son is like infatuated with dogs right now, so we might get one day.
Well, I feel like that's a part of the parenthood phase where every child wants a dog, a cat, a goldfish.
A pony. No, you're not getting it.
And, that you just kind of have to do it.
I'll do a goldfish.
Well,
Would you do like a
they
hamster?
die in
If
like
your
2
kid
weeks.
wanted a hamster or a snake, would you be okay with that?
There's no way on God's green earth that I'm going to allow a snake into my home.
Intentionally. Like, why would I do that?
Intentionally. I'm from the country. We that's not what we do. But a hamster is cool, cuddly and furry.
Absolutely not in my home. But I'm Auntie KO. Hey, guys. I have been an auntie. I put on social media that I've been an auntie since I was 8, and my nephew quickly corrected me that I was actually 7. So I've been an auntie since I was 7 years old. Okay, literally, obviously, most of my life. I am a mommy of 2. I have a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old. Send prayers. Happily married.
Definitely
an
send
entrepreneur.
You
here
are.
in the A.
You do all the things.
All of the things. I'm Jamaican. We talked about that on the last episode. And I'm ready to get into this show.
Let's get into
Let's
it.
do it. Episode 2, we are here.
We're here. And the first thing I kind of want to talk about is I want to get into some Twitter talk. Okay?
Is Twitter even still alive? Word on the street is
it's on life support right now.
It's on life support. Okay, it's in hospice.
Yeah,
Let's go.
and as it's slowly dying, I still am able to get some entertainment there on a daily basis. But there's a tweet that's gone viral from a Generation Zer by the name of Want Some Fries 2. That's her at. And she asks, people 30 plus, what used to keep y'all entertained since y'all didn't have social media back in the days? And boy, was I triggered when I read that.
Want some fries, ma'am? We are not 60. We are, well, I'm closer to 40 than 30, but.
I just, and it went viral. And of course, 30 plus crowd, 35 plus crowd, and everybody else was kind of like giving her the business, which wasn't all that necessary, to be honest. But the truth of the matter is, like, I feel like people try to talk about us like we're archaic a little bit. I was a little triggered.
I saw something that was like, if you're ready to settle down, get you somebody old that was born in like the 90s.
Damn. The 1900s.
The 1900s.
Wow.
We were definitely born in the 1900s. To answer your question, we were living life. Okay.
Period.
Were talking on payphones.
Oh my God.
Getting dropped off at the mall in the movies.
25-cent payphone.
25-cent chips.
25-cent chips.
Living the good life.
Beeper. Beep me 911.
You did not have a beeper.
I had
Carmen.
a green, clear beeper like all the boss girls back in the day.
Carmen, how did you
I
have
didn't
a
sell
beeper?
drugs,
How did you? I feel like I wasn't old enough to have a beeper. How did you have a beeper?
I had a beeper. I was walking around like I had some important
Was somebody
business.
paging you?
I was always like a businesswoman, even when I was like
You
a
been
little
bossed up.
kid. Yeah.
Gotcha. You need it. You was making moves. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not have a pager. I had the little Nokia.
Ooh,
The little red
yes.
Nokia was my first cell
Yes.
phone. And
And we used to have flip
ninth
phones
grade.
too.
Who?
Flip. Like the phones that
Oh,
flipped
the
out.
razors. Shout out to the razors.
We had those back in the day.
Yeah.
But you know,
Was that wasn't pre?
was it pre
She said pre-internet or pre-social media.
social media?
Okay. For your information, though, little girl, have you not heard of Black Planets?
Have you not heard of AOL?
Does MySpace not ring a bell?
Hello?
We've been doing this.
Top
okay?
8?
We're not. Wait, what's that?
You know,
Oh, is that on MySpace with your friends?
yeah.
Okay. I'm
if
sorry.
you
I
were
forgot.
not in the top 8,
You ain't.
but that was kind of social media, right?
Yeah, that was social media.
But before that, we were outside, to answer your question.
We were outside.
We
and
were
not
outside.
how y'all be outside in these streets right now. We were
Right.
actually playing outside.
Like playing outside. We were, making, let me speak for myself. I was like making music videos in my house. I had a camcorder and I was like on my mom's fireplace.
You were TikToking before TikTok?
Yeah, I was creating small little TikToks back in the day. Watching videos, so all the fun stuff. It was just fun.
We were actually living. That's what we were
Carefree.
doing. We weren't documenting. Because that's what life has
Amen.
become. If you go to the club now, you'll see more people on their phones than enjoying
Yes.
themselves
Yes.
or recording other people enjoying
We were
themselves.
dancing. We were actually dancing at parties.
Were you like a twerk girl? Were you twerking?
I was never a twerk girl.
Okay.
But I hung around twerk girls.
Were you
And
like holding them up, holding them back,
Yeah, but
holding
then
their
I
purse?
tried to twerk, realized that wasn't my ministry, and I allowed the others to do what they do. I'm kind of like a two-step girl.
Are you?
I'm
You've always been a two-step girl.
I've always been a two-step girl.
Carmen always been an auntie, okay? I was out here
Were you
twerking before
twerking?
twerking was twerking.
Wow.
Okay, we was twerking when it was a pop, when you was popping. Remember when you was popping back in
Oh, pop
second
it.
grade?
Nah, I definitely
You were
tried
popping.
to do a little pop situation. Didn't go well either, but I, been there, done that.
Okay, we've been there and we've done that.
But
yeah, so we were living. To
We
answer your
were
question,
living,
girl.
we were outside before social media, before every day was consumed with scrolling and looking at everyone
and
else's
watching
lives.
other people's lives. Can
We were
you
living.
imagine growing up
No.
like on Instagram?
Before you even answer, no.
Seriously,
The
it's
answer's
hard for some grown ass women to deal with the pressures of watching other people live their lives that
Mm-hmm.
look like they're better than the life they're living. Imagine being like a high schooler,
Having that
or
pressure.
a middle schooler going through.
Correct.
How many followers do you? Oh, you don't even have any followers.
I cannot, when you're trying to get yourself together with your acne,
All the things.
trying to make sure that your hair looks good, that your lip gloss is popping, and then you have to deal with how many followers you have on top of that.
Somebody posted something about me.
No, thank you.
Cyberbullying. No, thank you. So good luck, little girl. We
Good luck,
are the
want
last of the
fries.
Mohicans. Okay, we are the last generation that remembers payphones,
Yes.
house phones. Your mama would pick up the phone and say, "Girl,
Oh
it's
my
time
God.
for you to go to bed."
Time to get
Y'all
off
don't
the
even
phone.
know. Yeah. Y'all
Or
don't know about
if
that
you're
life.
like somebody's trying to get on the internet, you can't be on the phone.
that part. Come on, AOL dial
Yeah,
up.
so it
Yeah,
was
that
intense.
What a time to
What
be
a
alive. Didn't you
time.
miss out?
So moving on.
Moving on. What are we getting into?
So we're
next?
getting into our Auntie would never.
What would Auntie never, baby?
Auntie would never. So in this moment, this is our segment where we talk about what the aunties, us,
Lessons learned.
would
yes,
never do.
yes.
Lessons learned. And so, but I'm going to kind of mix it up a little bit because I want to talk about a trending topic.
Okay.
Which is knee lengthening. Have you heard of that?
What is knee lengthening, ma'am?
So thanks for asking. Knee lengthening is when an individual who may be of the shorter persuasion goes into the hospital and they get their bones extended in their kneecaps so that they might be a few inches taller. And so that is happening all around the world. And my thing is, I just would never date a man who had knee lengthening.
You can't even say it because it ain't right.
It's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous you can't even say
knee
it.
lengthening surgery. I just could never do that.
How would you know if you were doing it though? Is my question. Does he have scars on the back of his kneecaps?
Oh my God, you're right.
How would you know that? You go in his house and he has lifts in his closet. Like how would
I know
How
that?
would you know?
Good question. That's not the point though. The point is
You
I
would
would
never
knowingly do it.
Why though?
I like men.
It's embarrassing.
You know, and this is going to sound so hypocritical because I have said in the past that that women should be able to like get plastic surgery if they want it, you know, if it makes them feel better about themselves, that kind of thing. But I just don't feel that way about this surgery. It costs $75,000. And I'm just interested in a man who's okay with who he is.
So, Carmen, this
Yes.
is the question because I'm going to say, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to say I agree, right? Because in my mind, I'm instantly thinking, oh, this nigga's insecure.
Right.
However, how does that translate to women? Because does it automatically mean if I go get lipo or a nose job or
I see where
whatever,
you're going with
I'm
this.
insecure? I don't know.
Well, I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Okay.
If you go get surgery, there is some form of insecurity there. If you get plastic surgery, there is some form of insecurity there. Oh, my butt's not big enough. Oh, my boobs are too saggy. Oh, my nose is too wide. Anytime that I've ever thought about having plastic surgery, because I have thought about it before, I was like, ooh, this nose could use a little, pinch. However, I've never gone through with it because at the end of the day, my security in myself, I feel like my self-confidence has overridden that desire to go that far with it.
Okay, you have a point. There's something you are insecure about, which is why you want to
why you want to do that in the first place.
Change it up.
And so at the end of the day, Auntie would never
ever.
I'm gonna just have to find me a natural.
Did you date short men? Is your husband short?
Actually, my husband is not short, but I actually have dated a short man in the past, and he was extremely confident.
I thought you was gonna say he was extremely short.
He was short. He was shorter than me, for sure. But
I used to prefer short guys.
really, why is
did.
that?
I wanted to dominate them.
How did I know you were
Not
going
I wanted to
in that
dominate them. Let me
direction?
not say that. Because my husband gonna watch this and be like, girl, what are you talking about? So that's not what I meant. I didn't mean dominate them.
Are you sure?
As a matter of fact, Ty, just cut that out, okay? That never happened.
Keep it.
I didn't mean dominate them. I didn't want them to dominate me, I think. I wanted to be able to get back with you. And if you up here, I can get back with you.
Oh, okay. So it's like a control thing.
It was.
Okay.
Unhealthy. Listen, niece. Don't do like me. Don't do like your auntie. Be better than auntie,
Auntie's
okay?
healed now.
I am healed. And my man is not short, okay?
Okay. So you just prefer a naturally tall man now, or it really doesn't matter for you?
No, it doesn't matter. I just don't prefer a short man. Like I literally, not that I was going out looking for short men, and I don't mean shorter than me.
Yeah.
I mean like 5'7" is short
Okay,
to
yeah.
me.
My ex was shorter than me.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'5". So like,
Carmen, you dated a midget.
So let me rephrase. When I put on heels and like went out, and which is typically when we go out, I wore heels. I was towering over him.
Was he a midget?
He wasn't a midget, but he was just short.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
So I've never dated anybody shorter than me. Maybe that's my auntie would never.
Yeah.
No, I have another one. My auntie would never.
Never.
And auntie did. Auntie would never do this again, okay? Let me just be real with y'all. Auntie would never stay with a man who publicly embarrassed me.
Ooh.
Actually, the guy I was engaged to before, I mean, he was an embarrassment, just period.
Just
but
across the board.
Just across the board, it was embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
I'm glad Instagram was not around then. Let me just say that. But
Oh my gosh.
he went off on me one time, like in front of people, and that was just like the most cringe-worthy moment.
I have a confession.
What's your confession? Were you there? Did you see him going off on me?
Yeah, I was right there with my camera rolling. No, I have been that girl before.
You be going off on people in public?
I have done it before.
Carmen, tell us the story.
I have done it.
What did you do?
I
and why?
will plead the fifth regarding that situation. However, I have been there, done that, and I deeply regret it.
Okay, so you wouldn't do it again?
I deeply regret
Okay.
it. It's not a good thing to do. You should never do it, but I have been that girl.
Wow. It, like in your young Carm days or
Well,
recently?
you know, a few years back.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes when alcohol gets involved, things go left. So nieces, pace yourself.
Pace yourself.
Especially when you're in public with your man.
That part.
Your girl.
Or anybody.
Whatever. Whoever.
Yeah. No. So I'm just super private. Mm-hmm.
So that's a deal breaker
That's
for
a
you.
deal breaker.
Okay.
I mean, now. Well, I'm married, so, you know. Are there deal breakers in marriage?
Yeah. There are certain things you absolutely cannot do in marriage.
Should we save that for another episode?
No, I mean, maybe we should. But
Okay.
we might get into it later on, depending on.
Okay, we'll see.
but
Okay.
Depending on what's going on.
So, speaking of public embarrassment, word on the street is a young man has fumbled his family because he could not stay out of his feelings.
Now, who might that man be?
I am sorry to this man. I don't know who this man. Listen, Kiki, girl. Listen, niece. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Because I think we might have opposing opinions.
Yeah.
I want to know y'all's opinion too. So let us know down in the comments whose side are you on.
Let us know. And follow us on Instagram.
At Dear Auntie Pod.
That's
we'll
right.
link it down below. Who is wrong in this situation? So the situation is
let's tell them the
Palmer,
situation.
right? Our little niece Kiki. Hey, Kiki.
Hey, niece.
New mom. Her baby is a couple months old.
Yes.
Kiki is Kiki, right? She goes to Vegas, is celebrating life with her friends, ends up at the Ursha show. If you haven't been, go check it out.
I heard it was amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He serenades women at this show, right? She's the woman he serenades at this particular show. People have cell phones in 2023 and they capture
They do, unfortunately.
her getting serenaded by Usher. She has on a revealing dress,
Yes.
right? It's a little
Cheeks.
mesh. Cheeks was out.
Cheeks facing the world.
Cheeks were out. And he reposted or responded and said, "You a mom." Basically, my translation was, sit your ass down somewhere, get back in that house because you have a baby now. You're not allowed to
And
do
get the
this.
baby on the tit.
Get the baby on the tip. What do you say? What's your take, Carmen?
Well, again, my opinion is not a popular one. I don't think it will be. It might be. Who knows? Maybe they're like, they don't really show up on social media, you know, because sometimes when you say what you feel, you get shamed in the public arena. So my opinion is this. They're both wrong.
Okay.
They're both wrong. And I think this is going to get into our deal breakers in relationships. But I don't know what they discussed at home. I don't know what their understanding is at home. I do know this, though. If Keke Palmer were to wake up, or the rest of America were to wake up after her baby daddy, whose name is Darius, by the way, was at a Megan Thee Stallion concert, and they were pelvis to pelvis, and she was shaking his ass all over him, and it went viral, I can guarantee you that the reaction would have been much different.
I agree. That just happened with Chance the Rapper.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my thing is this. If you are in a relationship, there are certain things you do and certain things you don't do. And I don't think the young man is wrong for feeling some type of way about his woman and the mother of his child being out in public with her cheeks out and being pelvis to pelvis with Usher. Mr. Take Your Girl.
Mr. Take Your Girl.
I mean, I don't
No,
see...
that was Trey Songz. Trey Songz, Mr.
Oh,
Steal Your Girl.
which
But
one
okay,
is it?
but he'll take
Well,
Usher
that's
can
the
get your
Auntie
girl
coming
too.
out.
It's okay. Trey Songz. It's okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and then on the other hand, if that was a case, if that was an issue for him, We should have never known about it.
That's the part I have a problem with.
Why are you tweeting this?
Why are you tweeting? You are actually tweeting.
Why are you tweeting this?
Publicly.
I don't get it.
To your woman.
Wow.
That's
violation.
That's the violation.
Flag on the play,
That's
mister.
that's the part is you could have called my phone.
Mm-hmm. Could have hit my line.
You could have hit my line. This is something we could have talked about privately. But now what you've done. Now
I gotta cause.
Now you've caused
I
the
gotta
scene.
cause a scene.
Now I have to defend myself. Now you're forcing me to defend myself, which as I'm defending myself, is gonna make you look bad because I'm Keke Palmer. So the world is gonna have to pick. Why would you want the world to
pit us against
each other? You want people talking about me because nobody would have thought it was a problem. I don't think anybody would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been
We wouldn't have
oh
thought
my
twice
God.
about it.
We wouldn't have been like.
I mean, some people might have, but it wouldn't have gone viral.
I don't think it wouldn't have gone viral. And I think that he just put everybody in their business, in my opinion. Because and I talked to my husband about this. I'm like, if this was our scenario, first of all, I wouldn't have worn that. That's just not my style.
Auntie would never.
But that's just not my personal style.
Nor is it mine.
So I wouldn't have worn it. However, if my husband saw something that he had a problem with, the world don't need to know you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because now they in our business.
Yeah.
Now we sitting here talking about it. We would have never even known that Keke was.
FaceTime me.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And so
I want the world to think you bought me this dress.
There you go.
That's what I want the world to think, that you support everything that I got going on.
Yeah. And I totally see that. I think he lashed out. I think they're both young and probably have a lot of growth to do, as we all do. But at the end of the day, I think because he made it public, he became the bad guy. When in actuality, I feel like his feelings were valid. I don't think the mom piece was valid because he was kind of doing a little mom shaming there. It's like, you're a mom,
just about to say that.
you don't get to be outside
do this anymore,
or you don't get to dress. But I do think there are boundaries in relationships that people should consider.
I think that your boundaries are your boundaries. Obviously, it was a problem though, because if that was something that they had previously discussed, we wouldn't even be talking about this. Yeah. But I was about to ask you, do you think her dress was inappropriate? Or do you think it was the dancing or the singing or whatever?
Again, my unpopular opinion is that dress was not appropriate for anyone, not just Keke Palmer. She could have been a white, black. It's not about black women.
Dress either.
No, I don't like any of those dresses that show where you're naked. It's not even a dress. It's just like
a sheer slip.
It literally, we are emulating stripper culture at this point. And that is kind of, to me, it's not fashion. It's not cute. It's not even aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
I mean, Keke's body is banging, but it's just not something that I think we should promote.
It's not a good look.
As a society.
Ladies.
Yeah.
So
what do we have here?
Oh, yeah, the Beyonce. So Beyonce and Terrence Howard.
That was a moment.
Y'all think Jay-Z went to Twitter when Beyonce had Terrence Howard lost on stage?
No, because
he didn't say nothing publicly,
Beyonce
but
got him on
ain't seen me do it since. That part. Tell your wife, sit down somewhere. Don't do this no more.
Because Beyonce probably got him on an NDA. He couldn't say nothing.
But I just feel like you need to talk to your man.
No, absolutely. No question about it.
And don't tell me also, because to the mom shaming point, that was another part I had a problem with society. And I do feel like when you are a mother and you have children that are watching you, you do have to carry yourself in a particular way.
And that's just the bottom line.
I agree with that.
I mean, I agree with that on a level that I just feel like, again, when we say things like this, people want to cancel people with that opinion. But as a mom, just like, for example, as a teacher, let's take moms out of it. Let's make it a broader topic. As a teacher, if I'm a teacher, there are certain things that I am and am not going to do as a teacher because I have an image to uphold.
That's why I had to quit teaching, because you have to live in a teacher box.
That's correct. And so I don't think we should try to pretend like we're not aware of like what certain titles require of us.
Yeah, just don't embarrass me publicly. That's my only thing. But to your point about, we're like embracing stripper culture, I put up a post that the people went in.
I'm sure they did.
Okay, of a guy basically saying that men are confused these days. That I see the stripper, the cashier, the post office worker. All of y'all got BBLs. All of y'all wearing these
Baby.
same see-through dresses.
Listen.
How am I supposed to know
Who's
who?
and what's what? And
You
who
can't
does
be
what.
mad that I'm treating you how I'm treating you based on this perception.
Now, here's what I believe. I believe all humans deserve respect.
Agree.
That's in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world where image matters. What you do and what you say and what you wear matters. If it didn't, then everybody would just be out here running wild and running amok, and nothing would matter. So I don't want us to pretend like these things aren't real. Just because we don't want them to be real doesn't mean they're not real.
Agreed.
Okay?
Agreed.
Are we on the same page with that?
We can cheers to that.
Okay, cheers. All right, let's move on.
I hope you didn't fumble your family, though. I would like to say that because I've been talking about this on Threads. Are you on Threads?
I am on Threads.
Are y'all on Threads? Come on over if you're not. But I've been talking about it, just kind of having commentary. But in all seriousness, I do not, want him to lose his family over this.
I don't
this is some
either. I want them to
foolishness.
work it
Hopefully
out.
it'll just pass and they'll move
I
forward.
thought they were cute together, and it was just maybe just a little mistake. That's all. So moving right along, do you watch Love and Marriage, Huntsville?
Clips.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Okay. I'm like obsessed with that show.
Are you?
I really love that show. When I
Okay.
was blogging and they first came on the scene here in Atlanta, I went to their first advanced screening of their show and interviewed
been
all the
hooked.
cast members and everything like that. And I've been hooked ever since. Love it. So I don't know if you're familiar with Marceau.
Everyone
Marceau.
is familiar with, yes.
And he was on a panel recently about marriage and love and all of that good stuff. And he was talking about how sex is like the top priority
It's the lifeline in your marriage.
And if you don't have sex, you don't have a marriage. And that, in fact, if he wasn't getting sex in his marriage, that he would feel comfortable outsourcing it. What are your thoughts around that? First of all, how important is sex in a marriage? And if you don't have sex in a marriage, can it or should it be outsourced?
So there is apparently a concept called sexless marriages, where
Okay.
couples are married,
And don't have sex.
they're not having sex, but every other part of the marriage is like a normal marriage. This is more prevalent than I think we even know.
Yeah.
I do believe if you are married to a man, that sex is probably one of his top priorities next to like food and water.
Yep.
So it's all about knowing what you want, right? If you want a man, you got to know what a man wants and be willing to do that, or get you somebody who wants something different.
And everybody's different. I think.
Everybody's different. So I think everybody's sexual appetite is different, but sex, period, has some level of importance to most men. I'll say to most men. So I do understand that, and I think you would just be like ignorant to believe that
Otherwise.
sex doesn't matter, right? However, I don't know about the outsourcing of it. And this is a conversation that me and my husband have had. Not like, baby, I'm about to outsource. But it's like because I've had people on Girl Stop Playing, one particular guest who's like, she's asexual. She's married though.
Oh.
So they became poly. That was their solution. They became poly.
Very interesting.
That's a solution. Ain't for me,
They
but it's a
figured it
solution.
out.
They figured it out. So I've asked my husband, like, well, what would happen if something happened and I physically could not have sex?
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Very good question.
That's a question.
That is
so
a very good
then
question.
if you are, going through whatever you're going through and you cannot physically have sex, you literally cannot have sex. Then do you have a problem outsourcing it? Or do you just selfishly allow your husband to suffer?
I think in that instance, you kind of have to be flexible. If you physically cannot have sex, I think you have to do what works for you. Maybe
What would you do, Carmen?
stretch a few boundaries. I don't know. I feel like if I physically could not have sex and I knew that that was a really, really important part for my husband, then I might be open to outsourcing it. But if it was just like, I'm tired, then that's not even a
Nigga, you
conversation.
go to sleep too.
Yeah, that's not a
Tell me that
conversation we're about to
tomorrow.
have. We need to get on a schedule and make it happen. But I kind of do think it's selfish if you cannot physically have sex and expect your partner to be with you for the rest of their life.
Listen, marriage is the biggest
I know this
game
sounds
of give and
horrible.
take. No, it doesn't. I think it's honest, and I think you have to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, the people on the outside who have a major problem with what he said are single as shit. They don't have a man at the house that they know this to be the case
And
for.
I'll be real with you, I'd be tired. I be tired most nights. So when you are married to someone, it is not like when you're dating. When you're dating, you can't wait to break down the door.
Why is that, Carmen? Because my husband think I tricked him.
Is that your situation? Is that your life? Yeah, my husband's like, I mean, it's very important to him, like most men. And with women, we do a lot during the day. Not to say men don't, but I think it impacts us a lot of things. You're a mother. You're taking care of kids. I'm assuming you're either breastfeeding or you're changing diapers. That is exhausting. That is taxing work.
It is.
It is
and you
work.
don't feel sexy after all of those things.
You don't feel
either.
sexy. And even me the other day, I was cleaning the house all day, all Sunday, and I had my head wrapped. It was half falling off, and my house dress was slack. And I was just like, I don't feel sexy at all. And I wanted to lay down after that, right? And so I just think that men have to be understanding of the things that women experience on a day-to-day basis and vice versa. And you have to meet somewhere in the middle.
This is tough though, Carmen. This is why so many men cheat during pregnancy. Like the most vulnerable time for a woman, but also the most like lonely time for a man.
Yeah.
It's rough.
So the answer is sex is important.
Sex is important, and I'm open to outsourcing if I had to. I'll say that if I had to.
And just have that conversation.
Just have that conversation, and don't put it on the internet if that's what you decide to do.
And do not put it on the internet that, hey, my wife is not sleeping with me.
Who's ready? I'm trying to outsource. don't do that. I feel like
Let me put up a poll.
So many of these things have been going on. We just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Nobody can have a problem with it if they don't know about it.
Absolutely. So the next thing I want to talk about is being unhappily married. I saw a video recently about being unhappily married, that is something that you should expect as your marriage goes up and down and you go through seasons. How do you feel about that? Being unhappily married, what does that mean? Because she said that a man walked up to her and was trying to get with her, and he asked her if she was happy. She said no, but that doesn't mean I'm going to run off with you. Unhappily married. Would you stick around if you were unhappily married?
First of all, I'm never going to tell anybody I'm unhappily married.
Never.
Auntie would never tell y'all that I'm unhappily married. Definitely not to a strange man in the street. It's not going to happen.
No.
However, I think that we don't just live happy lives, meaning every day of our life is happy. Life be life, and
right.
Stuff happens, and no situation is 100% happy or 100% positive or 100% good. There's always the other side of it. So I think you would just be like crazy to think that you are just going to live like this fairy tale.
A fairy tale. And
wedding,
to be honest, that's
marriage.
how it's kind of sold to us. In our childhood, it's like
Prince Charming.
Yeah, Prince Charming. You run off happily ever after.
Happily ever after. Does that mean happy forever? Is that what
That's
ever
what
after means?
That's what it sounds like.
Ever after.
But those of us who are in committed relationships and or married,
we know that shit is
understand
a lie.
that every day is a new. You never know what you're gonna get when you wake up.
It was all a lie. They lied to you, girl. Do not believe it, okay?
You never know.
I can say that I am happily married. However,
Congratulations.
Thank you. However, every day, and I don't want to make it seem like my marriage is perfect because nothing is perfect, right?
Yeah.
But we have not gone through, and I don't even want to say yet because God, please no. But we have not experienced like that rough patch or that season where we just could not stand each other. Now, we've been through some things where it's like I was personally going through something. He was personally going through something, and we're trying to figure it out together. But we have not yet had a season where it's like I can't stand you. I don't even want to look at. I haven't experienced.
Well, that's a blessing. That to me signifies that you all are just meant to be. You made the right decision.
Picked good. Yeah, I think we picked good.
Now, for me, I'm newly married.
Girl, do your husband watch this podcast? First of all, what are you about to say?
Well, listen, he does, and he should be. He should be watching this podcast. But here's what I will say. The first few months has been so trying, probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, because it involves merging two lives. And again, we're a little bit older, right? I'm 36, he's 47. And so we've been living our lives this whole time, having to merge lives, me having to move out of my house into his house and find space in his home and, learn how he does things and him learn how
it's a lot.
It's a lot, right? And so my husband and I are both incredibly stubborn people. We're both kind of know-it-alls. And so we really have had to show patience and understanding and give each other a lot of grace. So I'm not going to say, I don't think we've hit the honeymoon phase yet. I think that's going to come after the first year.
Gotcha.
And so that's just my advice to the nieces out there. Sometimes there is a growing phase and a learning phase.
All the time.
So don't run as soon as it gets a little tough.
I saw someone said that dating basically primes you for divorce. The act of dating, in the sense of you date and then you break up. You get in a relationship and you leave it. That whole back and forth thing conditions us that when things get tough,
I could just go.
you just take off. Yeah.
And let me tell you, that's so funny that you said that. When we got into our first big argument when I moved in, I was like, oh shit, I gotta stay here. I can't go anywhere.
Wait a minute, I live here now.
I live here.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're dating, you could just, okay, I'm going home, right? And it's like, wait, I live here.
I'm going upstairs.
And so I'm going to just go upstairs.
Yeah.
Right? And scroll on Instagram for a little while or whatever. But that adjustment period is so real.
It is real. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. My wedding was super traumatic. I still have PTSD.
I know, you told me it was traumatic.
Girl, it's the thing. And so hopefully y'all appreciate these conversations that we're having, because I feel like people don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
And so then when you get in it and it ain't what you thought it was,
Yeah.
you think it's you, and it's not you, it's life.
That
This
happened
is
to me when I got
what it
married.
is.
I was calling my married friends. They was like, oh, girl, I didn't tell you the first year is crazy. And I was
Well,
like,
bitch,
no,
why
you didn't
didn't you
tell
tell
me that
me?
earlier. They was like, one of my friends, she's so funny. She was like, yeah, I call those the dark days. I was like, I've never
So
heard.
our first year was in secret,
of
and I
this.
think that helped us navigate the first
Okay,
year.
okay.
That we were like married, but still kind of dating because
Okay.
nobody knew we were married.
And so it was kind of
the pressure wasn't on us.
We're able to work it
Yeah,
out.
we were able
kinda.
to work things through, and I was pregnant,
Yeah.
so it was a whole thing. Okay, let's get into this, dear Auntie, though, because
Let's.
y'all have been DMing us. We appreciate it.
We love
if
it.
you have not DM'd us and you do have a question, we are at Dear Auntie Pod, POD, on Instagram. Follow us. Here's our question. Okay, here, dear Auntie. I have been dating a man for a year. It's been pretty good for the most part, but he isn't very generous or romantic. He's actually pretty, you funny niece. He's actually pretty cheap and thinks romance is corny. I am 25 years old and am definitely interested in getting married soon, and he's proposed, but I'm not sure he's the one. I like being wined and dined, and I sometimes get jealous of my friends' relationships when I see them posting trips and gifts that they receive from their partners. Oh, this is a good question.
niece.
He's a good man otherwise. Smart, kind, funny, and attractive. What should I do? Your niece, Latasha. Whew.
My.
Prayers, Latasha.
Latasha, girl.
That's tough.
That's a lot.
And that's real. Reality TV, between
Authentic.
reality TV and Instagram, we are constantly looking at what other people have.
yeah, their marriage is amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we do get caught up in those things. And as you can hear, our niece is comparing herself to what she's seen. But that's a tough situation to be in.
Very tough.
Being that he proposed already and that
You should have asked us
she's-
this before you got the ring, sis.
Well,
but
hello.
It's a new podcast, so we understand.
We completely understand. But now that he's proposed, I think you guys are going to have a real talk, a real one-on-one situation. Because if you're the kind of girl that likes to be wined and dined, you're the kind of girl that likes gifts, trips, outings, and he has not shown that at all, then I don't think he's going to do that when y'all get married.
No,
either.
he's not. And I don't think he's
Yeah.
going to do that after having a conversation with you either. I think it's...
Yeah. Do you think that's just like a
Auntie
natural?
KO says get lost. Leave him. If that's important to you. If that is going to impact your life in such a way that you cannot be happy, then I say let it go. If
Yeah.
you're going to be miserable and comparing your marriage to everybody else's for the rest of your life, I
And
don't
that's
think
something
so.
that needs to really be considered. Like, what do I like to do versus what does my partner like to do?
Or just lifestyle. How do I like to live?
Yeah.
Because if you are super frugal and I'm like, I like to live a lavish life, then this is not sustainable.
Yeah.
I might really
It's not
like you, but it's not
realistic.
sustainable.
Yeah, it's not realistic. And so, hate to break the news to your niece. You're either going to have a real serious talk if this is so important to you, or you're going to have to chuck the deuces. You're going to have to call off your engagement.
And that's hard. Calling off an engagement is super
It
hard. You're
is.
going to be embarrassed. Your pride is going to be
I've done it.
Did you? Episode 4, we're talking about it because what? Okay. I think that who you marry is just so important that
It
I don't
is.
think if you are having second thoughts and it's about something important to you, if it's some
Right.
petty little frivolous something that you can get over that matters today, but tomorrow it don't matter, then not that.
Then yeah.
But this, like lifestyle
the
things,
things you like to do and places you like to go, and that
I
matters.
think you could try to make it work, but you're going to be miserable.
The truth hurts,
The truth hurts.
but we're here to tell the truth.
We're here to tell the truth. So if you decide to stay, take some trips with some girls.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
might have to. And here's a bit of advice too. You may have to make your experiences your own, or experiences that you share with other important people in your life. Maybe your husband or soon to be husband does all of these other amazing things, but he just doesn't do that. And so you'll just have to accept that as a part of your reality.
Yeah.
And do what you have to do to make yourself happy.
But don't shrink yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't try to pretend like you don't want to do these
Because that's where the
things, 'cause then you'll be
resentment comes
miserable.
in.
You'll resent him. You'll be miserable. And
Yeah.
you really will be looking at other people. You'll be mad at your friends because you ain't got what they
Yeah.
got. Don't do it.
You're right.
Bad idea. But to the other point about the generosity, I do feel like there's maybe some hope with that because his becomes yours once you're married. So you ain't got to
Yeah.
be generous. Give it up.
In
It's
some
mine.
states, half.
That part. So yeah,
I mean, I think we did a good job.
I think we did a great job for episode
Yeah.
2.
Episode 2.
If y'all have questions, where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram. You guys can find us on Instagram at Dear Auntie Pod.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're there taking your
And
questions.
that's AUNTY.
We'll drop it in the show description below. We're taking your questions. Y'all can ask us anything, okay?
Yeah.
We'll
DM
do our
us.
best. We are not experts. We need to start giving a disclaimer. This is not professional
This is not
advice.
expert
These
advice
are
at
opinions,
all.
all
Maybe
right?
one day we'll have an expert on.
Maybe.
You know.
But not today. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2.
Yay.
See you next time.
See ya.
Peace.